Show me the
Numbers?
For the old man.
That's right. What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Old Man Games channel. I am your host, the Old Man Games. This is the show you need to know. The show that I would say the show that's underrated, underappreciated, the show that you never heard, the jewel you didn't know you needed. This is Madden Meets Maguire. Show me the numbers. Yep, that's right. Season number 1, episode number 2, y'all. This is the series where we play the role of an NFL agent, building his NFL agency, player agent, that is. All right. And yeah, so we're just gonna keep it rolling. All right, so here we are on the season recap screen. We just wrapped the 2025 season, I believe. Yeah, we did 2 seasons. And going into the off season here, we have 2 players that we just signed. We have 5 players signed overall, 3 that were signed last season that went through the draft. Or 3 that were signed 2 seasons ago that went through the draft last season. 2 that were signed this past season that are about to go through the draft right now in the off season. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. All right, I'll sim to the draft, and I'll come back to show the 2 players that we have in the draft. All right, boom. So we are here at the draft. We are getting ready to go through it. Mind you, reminder, we play the role of the Raiders GM, but we are completely on autopilot. We don't do anything. At most, what we may do is sign one of our agency players to the preseason roster, but it's up to that player to make the 53-man and or the practice squad. Okay, so I'll have no say in that if I do sign a player to the Raiders preseason squad, but that's the most that I'll do as the Raider GM. Other than that, it's all on autopilot because it's all about this agency that we're trying to build with the main character we have here in this series named Kevin Oleman. All right. So we have a couple of players in this draft. Start the draft. No, I want to, right here it says scouts college players. Let me show you the 2 players we have. We have a strong safety named Brendan Felton, and we have a tight end named Cody Bishop. All right. So let's see. Prospects. So let me just show you these guys real quick as a reminder, because this is all in episode number 1, which most of you did not watch. Go back and check episode number 1, doggone it, if you haven't done so. All right, but here's the first player that we have signed. Brandon Felton, 6'1", 206 from Alabama. They have him projected as a UDFA, as you can see right here, but we'll see. You never know. Sometimes those UDFAs go as late round picks, so we'll see how that plays out. Right, and then the other guy we have is a tight end out of the University of Miami. This is Cody Bishop, 6'6", 236. I'm excited about him. He's a projected 3rd, 4th round player. So yeah, y'all. All right, so at this time, I'm gonna go ahead, hop into the draft. Where we at? Oh. Actually, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna simulate straight through the draft, y'all, because like I said, I'm completely on autopilot. So I'll come back at the conclusion with a recap. Okay, boom. As soon as I pressed pause on my recorder, it was done. All right, so let's go do this in real time. Actually, let me go do this and I'll come back and update you. All right, guys, we're back. Here we are. So we got the results. One of our players were drafted. The other went undrafted as a UDFA. So the player who was drafted, we're showing him now. That is the tight end, Cody Bishop. He ended up going in the 4th round, number 16 in the 4th round, to the Kansas City Chiefs. Yep. So you can see that there. He's a 64 overall. Let's take a look at his rookie deal. All right, so it's a total of 4 years, $4 million total salary. $1.1 million cap hit in 26, 1.16 in 27, 1.21 in 28, and then 1.28 in 29. And he got a total bonus of 760,000. Motivations: he really likes the squad, so we're excited for him. Looks like an overall interest is high. Scheme fit looks like that's high, and they're on the Super Bowl chase, so we're excited for him and looking forward to see what he can do. All right, the other player we had, the strong safety by the name of Brendan Felton. As I said, he went undrafted, so what we're going to do next is fast forward to the preseason to see if anybody picked him up for the preseason, and if not, then we'll fast forward to the regular season to see if he made a practice squad, and to also take our roles for the 2020 what season we're about to go into, the 2026 season. We get 4 new roles for a chance to sign 4 new players. All right, so yeah, so I'm gonna fast forward now to the preseason and we'll take it from there. All right, y'all, we're in preseason now, and my bad, I accidentally simulated the first preseason game, but it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But here we are. Let's do a quick roll call to show where our players currently are, the players that are signed to our agency, that is. For the preseason, we have 4 players under contract, 2 that are 4 under contract, and 1 that is I can't think, guys, I'm so sorry. 1 that is a free agent. All right, 1 second. All right, yeah, my bad. So had to do some tweaking in the background. So yeah, let's do a real quick update on where our players are. We got Eric Copeland. He is a running back. Last year he was on the practice squad for the Falcons. This year in preseason, he's on the Falcons preseason squad. He's a 59 overall. I don't think his career is going to be that long, to be honest, especially if he doesn't improve here soon. And he doesn't really have the speed, you know what I mean, to be that great of a back. Got ball carrier vision though, so I don't know. I don't see him really having that much of a career, but we'll see. He'll most likely make the Falcons practice squad for the next couple of years, this year and probably next year, and then he'll probably fizzle out after that, but we'll see. The next player we want to take a look at plays for the Jaguars. And he is a left tackle. That's my man Colin Ellis right here. He's improved. He's now up to a 65 in the preseason. They brought in a guy that's slightly better than him, so this is gonna be tricky. We'll see if he makes the squad or if something funny happens. But it looks like he might be on the bubble already. The next guy we got on a roster is playing for the Eagles, and that's Larry Havenstein. He's a center. Oh yeah, and it looks like he's pretty much in position to have a starting season, so that's major, right? Like I said, Felton is not on anyone's team right now. He's a free agent. But then the other guy we got on a roster is the rookie tight end who we have playing for the Chiefs. And that's Bishop right here. Cody Bishop. So yeah, so we'll see how this all plays out. I'll go ahead, fast forward to regular season week 1. Hopefully the 4 guys that we looked at just now all stick. The one that is questionable is going to be Colin Ellis, the left tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, because he looks like he's on the bubble. Also, Eric Copeland, we just want to make sure he makes the practice squad for the Atlanta Falcons. And then we want to see if Brendan Felton makes anyone's practice squad. So I'm going to fast forward to that point and we'll find out what the fate is. All right, boom. Here we are at the start of the regular season for the 2026 season. We got our 5 clients all on a roster, either on a 53-man roster or on a practice squad. So let's do a real quick updated roll call to show where we are with everything. So this is the regular season week 1 rosters. We got Havenstein, the center for the Eagles. Second-year player, looking like he's about to start. Next up, we got another offensive lineman who plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This dude is still on the bubble. He made the 53 coming out of preseason, but he's the number 3 tackle. I don't know if they really gonna need 3 tackles. Looks like they got a really good rookie left tackle out of Ohio State who's already a 73 and is gonna start. So Ellis may get cut. He's definitely still on the bubble, y'all. I don't feel safe with him there. All right. Next up, we got out of that same class, we got a running back who plays for the Falcons, but he's on the practice squad. And that's going to be Eric Copeland. All right. There's no need to show his updated contract because it's the same exact contract that he had last year, which is the standard practice squad contract in this game of $112,000. All right, and then for the 2 rookies for this season, one of them plays for the Chiefs. He is a tight end by the name of Cody Bishop. There he is right there, a 64 overall 22-year-old rookie out of Miami. And then the other guy, I didn't even do this. This is the game totally did it on its own. On the auto, you know how I have the Raiders on autopilot, but the Raiders ended up signing our strong safety Felton to the practice squad. So Felton is here on the Raiders practice squad. Wait, where are you at? Right there. Brandon Felton, the rookie out of Alabama, 6'1", 208. All right, so those are the 5 players that we have on rosters for this season. We are going to simulate to the mid-season point to check to make sure that they are still on rosters. Like I said, I think out of all these players, Colin Ellis is the one that's really questionable. But before we do that, now is like the dopest time of the year. This is the time of the year where we go through to take a look at the draft class to see which players we're gonna add, if any. So I'm gonna pull up the random generator. We're gonna do a couple of roles and we're gonna see what it is, y'all. All right, here we go. All right, guys, so here we are back at the random number generator, getting ready to get our 4 roles for the 2026 season to see if and who the new players are that we're going to sign to our agency. But first, before we get into that, one thing I want to do is throw on the screen here the org chart. This is the 2026 org chart. If you watched the previous episode, you'll see this is no different than the previous 2 org charts, but just something that we want to get into the habit of doing at the beginning of each year, showing the org chart, showing the changes in the organization. As you can see, there have been none. The only change has been the year, right? So the year is now 2026, but still Kevin Oleman as the CEO, still Tina Anderson as a fractional controller, still Amanda Roberts as our fractional executive assistant, and still Colin Hill as our fractional IT support specialist. All right, guys, so that's what we got for the company, the corporation that we're building for now. Hey, we still trying to build up the money. You know, it takes time. And yeah, so let's get into it, y'all. All right, here we go. Time for the 4 roles. What is gonna be? What is gonna be? What is gonna be? All right. Role number 1 for the 2026 season. Who we got? Oh, also first, before we do it, just like last time, not like last time, I should clarify. I'm gonna click it 4 times to see who we get, and I'm gonna take notes after each one, but then I'm gonna flip back to the game to find out who those 4 are. So I'm not gonna do, well, you'll see it. I'm sorry, you'll see it. Let's go. Here's number 1. Bam, y'all. Bam. We got a middle linebacker. Number 125 overall. This looks like a good player right here. All right, so when we're done with our 4 roles, we'll go find out who it is, that's what I was trying to say earlier. All right, so role number 2. Let's see what it do. Damn, missed out on a pretty good looking running back there. Another day 3 guy, but we missed him. Damn. All right, time to go for number 3. Oh, we got a kicker. Okay, a UDFA kicker. That's a first. All right, let's see the 4th. Fingers crossed. Let's see what it's gonna be. Damn, y'all, what the? Missed out. Looks like we missed out on another running back, a UDFA running back. That's another no. That's a 50% clip. You know it's gonna cost us. It's gonna cost us, y'all. So let's find out who these players are and take note. All right, so here we are back at the game, and it's time to find out who those 4 players are. All right, so the first one was a middle linebacker, if you recall. Let's see, we're gonna keep auto-generated rookies. He was ranked 125 day 3, so we gotta find who's the closest to 125 middle linebacker. It's gonna be this guy right here, George Swain from Penn State, 6'1", 242. Looks pretty decent if you ask me. All right, so that's George Swain. The next guy who we did not sign, but we still take note of, was a middle. I'm sorry, it's a halfback, a running back. Number 122. Damn, there's exactly somebody too. Juan McLean from Army. All right, so that was a no-go. The next guy, interestingly enough, is a kicker. Hey, we're equal opportunity. And it's going to be the last kicker here because it's 4-0 something, and this guy, I mean, you know, which isn't there. So this is the guy we're going to get. Sam Northcutt, kicker from Tennessee State, 5'9", 200 pounds. Let's go. All right, and then back to the running backs to find out who was the other running back we did not sign, unfortunately. Number 302 on the list, another UDFA player. Okay, there is no 302, so it was this guy, 277, Frank Northrup, the 5'9" back from Texas Southern. All right, so that's the class, y'all, for 26. Not that good. I mean, 50-50. These 50-50 classes aren't the best. We gotta at least be able to sign 3. Ideally we sign 4, but 2 and under, 2, 1, and worst case ever scenario is 0. No good. No bueno. All right, because now that puts more pressure on these guys that we got signed. We really need these guys who are signed, who we did the roll call on at the top of the, I guess you could say at the top of the segment here, the regular season. We need all those guys to stick with their teams. None of them can get cut. If one of them get cut, we're gonna be financially in trouble. And I already said one of these guys are on the bubble. So let's go through, find out. I'm gonna go ahead, simulate to the midpoint of the season. We're gonna find out if all of our players who are signing contracts stuck with those contracts. All right, back in a flash. All right, boom, we're at the halfway point, and we got great news, guys. All of our actively signed clients remained with their teams throughout the first 8 weeks of the season. So that's Eric Coupland, who was on Atlanta Falcons practice squad. He's still there. Colin Ellis, who we were worried about, he's on Jacksonville Jaguars 53 man. He's the left tackle. He's still there. Larry Havenstein, he's starting for the Philly Eagles at center. He's still there. Brendan Felton, the strong safety for Las Vegas Raiders. He was on their practice squad. He's still there. And then the other rookie, Cody Bishop, the tight end for Kansas City Chiefs, he's still there. So in the interest of saving time, I don't necessarily need to show you all of that. What I'm going to do, since all of them have made it and there's not necessarily anything to update at this point in the season, I'm going to go ahead, fast forward through to the end of the season, and then make sure everyone stayed intact through the remainder of the regular season. And at that point, we'll go through and do a roundup, so that way we can look at how each player did statistically for the season. All right, so back momentarily after we simulate through the end of the regular season. All right, guys, so we've made it through the end of the regular season, and thrilled to say that all of our players have remained intact with their contracted teams, which is awesome. So we'll go through now and give a quick rundown of each of the players and how they did for the season. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and start here with the Raiders. We got a player on the practice squad. That'll be this strong safety right here, Brandon Felton. And although he's on the practice squad, I'm pretty sure he has no stats. I'll still check just to be 100% sure that he never got called up. But what did happen that I'll note is awesome is that his overall went up. He was 59 in the preseason. He's now a 60 overall player. So that bodes well for his future. Hopefully he can continue to improve. We'll take a look here to see. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. See, no, there's no defensive stats. And if I go to general, there's nothing there either. So that's all good. He still improved, so he still got the job done. The other practice squad player we had was a second-year guy, or is a second-year guy for Atlanta Falcons, a running back. This guy right here, Eric Copeland. He didn't, hold on, let me back up. He didn't improve, as you can see. Wait, where'd he go? He's set at 59. I think that's where he started the season as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that is. So no improvement for Eric Copeland, but he did manage to make his way through an entire season on the practice squad for the second season in a row. All right, the next player that we will profile here from our client list. You know what? We'll go straight to this guy right here. Let me show you the guy who was able to start, which will be Larry Havenstein. He's now up to 76 overall. He's a 24-year-old center for the Philly Eagles. He's a star development guy, as you can see there in his profile. For the season, he gave up 9 sacks. Unfortunately, they don't record pancakes, just like the college game. But what I will show is on general, 14 games played, 815 downs. 815 downs played. He was the starter for the team at center. Hold on, let me see if he won any awards. I doubt it. Yeah, no awards. He was definitely the starter though at center, which is important to note. Here, let me show you. Let me prove it to you. So the second center was this guy, Ted Karras, the 33-year-old, 74 overall. If you look at his stats, let's look at his general. He had 12 games played, 223 downs played though. So that tells you right there. And besides the overall tells you that he is Larry Havenstein's backup. So the importance of that for Larry Havenstein, being that he's the clear starter for his team, and we'll also check the stats for the Philly Eagles as well. But that means that's critically important for him and the agency because he will get a endorsement role. All right, so once the season is all said and done, we'll take note of that, and which I've already taken note, and I'm just letting you know that Larry Havenstein has earned a local, let me note that as well, it's a local endorsement role. Okay, so we'll go over the endorsement rules once we get there at the end of the season. And also, if you check in the comments, what I'm gonna do is post the like I did in the previous episode, but I'm posting the endorsement eligibility rules in the comments. All right, it's too long to post in the description section, so I posted in the comments. But just note that Larry Havenstein has earned an endorsement role, a local level endorsement role. All right, so the next guy on the list, oh yeah, he played for the Jaguars, is a left tackle for the Jaguars. Colin Ellis, he's still there, 24-year-old, 66 overall. He improved slightly. Let's look at his statistics for the season. Didn't give up any sacks, but that's not necessarily indicative of much, because he played 10 games, only played 20 downs, much less than he did his rookie season. Rookie year, he had 110 downs played in 17 games, played the full season. This year, I don't know if it was due to injury or just whatever. It could be the guy in front of him, but he didn't play as many games or nearly as many downs in his sophomore season in the league. All right, but he did manage to get through an entire 18-week regular season. The next guy we want to profile is the next guy who made who made a 53-man roster, which is a tight end, Cody Bishop. He plays for the Chiefs. So let's find him and show you what he was able to do. Here he is here, 22-year-old, 65 overall for the Chiefs, as you can see. Look at some of his attributes across the board, all right? But this kid, Cody Bishop, let's take a look at his stats on the season. Had 1 reception for 13 yards. That's about it. Didn't give up any sacks, so that's good. Played in 15 games, 122 downs, so he'll take it, I'm sure. We'll take it for his development. All right, and that's pretty much it for the regular season, guys. The biggest thing, again, to note is that Havenstein walked away with an endorsement role. Now we take a look at the playoffs, and we see that we have 2 teams in the playoffs. The Chiefs, which we have Cody Bishop, the tight end, who just shown he plays for the Chiefs, so they're in the wild card, which is a bonus there. Players earn $50,000, and this is real life. I want to say, as of the numbers that I've researched, the NFL players get paid the same across the board, if you guys don't know, when it comes to the playoffs. So regardless of what their salaries were during the regular seasons, their salaries get split over 18-week regular season. Then when they get to playoffs, everybody gets paid the same. In the wild card round, everyone gets paid $50,500, including the teams who have earned the bye. So like everyone on Baltimore's roster and everyone on Seattle's roster in this instance, they earn $50,000 in this first wild card week, even though they don't play. All right, and then the money for the second round, which is the divisional round, that's the same amount, $50,500. Then when you get to the conference championship round, the money for that goes up to $73,000. And then in the Super Bowl, the loser of the Super Bowl gets $89,000. The winner gets $164,000, and this is per player. Okay, on the 53 man. If you're on the practice squad, you continue to earn your practice squad rate for each week that the team survives the playoffs. All right, and that's how it works in real life, and that's how we're factoring in payments and things like that into the financial model within this series. So just wanted to point that out for you real quick, because we have 2 players who made the playoffs. Also, want to clarify something because or no, I won't. I was gonna get into the endorsement rules, but I'll save it for when we get there, which will be at the end of the season. All right, so at this point we will go ahead and simulate our way through the playoffs. Actually, I don't even need to do a round by round type of a thing. We know we got 2 players in here. I'm gonna simulate to the Super Bowl. We'll come back at that point and see who got in. All right, we are back at the Super Bowl, and what do you know? We got a player playing in the Super Bowl in his rookie season. That's the tight end Cody Bishop. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. They beat their wild card opponent, Pittsburgh Steelers, by a point, 17-16. Then, client on client violence, they beat the Jaguars in the second round. You know, we got a player on the Jaguars as well. Then in the conference championship against the Browns, they beat them by 8 points, and here they are in the Super Bowl. Ooh, we talk about Cinderella story, huh? So let's see what they do. Let's see what our player does. This is big too because there are endorsement implications for these playoff performances. Players who are on the 53-man playoff roster, I believe, are eligible for endorsement roles. I'll get into that after this. So let me go ahead, simulate the Super Bowl. I'll come back with an update. All right, y'all. So here we are back at the playoffs. I'm sorry, not the playoffs. The conclusion of the Super Bowl, which would be a season recap, okay? And bam, look at that. Kansas City has won the Super Bowl, and you know what that means. We got a rookie on that roster. We have a rookie who just won the Super Bowl in his first year, the tight end. Phenomenal, y'all. So that'll do it for the regular season. Next up after this is the draft. But before we go on to the draft, what we're gonna do is 2 things. One, we're gonna go into the I'm sorry, I can't even think straight. First, before we move on to the draft, which will be equivalent of moving on to the next year, calendar year. Before we do that though, to close out this year, the 2026 season, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a segment for endorsements, because we have a few players that are now eligible for endorsements, and that is Havenstein, the center for the Eagles, because he started, and I'll get into the intricacies of the endorsement rules. I gotta clean up some stuff, but I'll get into that. So that'll determine how many endorsement roles he get and the level, as well as we had 2 players in the playoffs, so they're gonna get endorsement roles as well, based on how many playoff games they played in, and if they were starters or not. But neither one of them were starters for their team, but they will get bonus roles, endorsement roles for being in the playoffs. So I'm gonna come back with with an endorsement segment, and then after that we're gonna look at the financials and close out the 2026 season. All right, so here we are. I brought up the endorsement eligibility rules of the players, of the clients, I should call them, that we have on our roster. There are 3 of them with potential to earn endorsement. All right, so let me just flash the 3 up on the screen right now. Those 3 are Larry Havenstein, the center for Philadelphia Eagles. He's actually their starting center, which is what brings him to this page. Then we also have Colin Ellis. He's a left tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The reason why he could potentially earn endorsement after this season is because his team made to the playoffs and played 2 playoff games. And then we also have this guy, Cody Bishop, the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a rookie. The reason he's on the page is because not only did his team make the playoffs, they played 4 games in the playoffs, they won the Super Bowl. So he's gonna have a little bit of an opportunity here to earn additional endorsement money. All right, so for these 3 guys, we're going to look through the rules and see how it applies to each guy. All right, so for the first guy up, Larry Havenstein. Let's see, it says endorsement eligibility rules and role structure. All right, so local endorsement deals eligibility. Player must lead their position group in downs played for the season, which Havenstein meets that criteria, right? So he's eligible for local endorsement. Then it says additional local endorsement role for each statistical category they lead their team in, provided they meet the downs played. All right, I didn't show this, but I can go back and show it later. For Havenstein, I looked, he didn't lead. Now, first of all, he's an offensive lineman. So offensive linemen, they're very limited because they really only have that one stat category, which is, or you could say 2 if you look at the games played, the general, and then also the O-line stats where they don't show pancakes, they show sacks. So the way I'm going to treat this with offensive linemen is based on downs played and sacks given up, something like that. I'll try to figure out some sort of metrics, maybe like sacks given up per downs played or something like this, and whoever has the fewest leads, something like that. But in any event, Havenstein did not lead for his group. I think he gave up 9 sacks, and he didn't have as many downs played as other players who had less sacks. So just by default, he did not lead in that category. And being that he's an O-lineman, they only have basically 1 statistical category. So when it comes to an O-lineman, if you apply this, they'll have 1 chance here. And if they meet that, they'll have 1 chance here because there's really only 1 statistical category for O-linemen. You get it? And then this is the playoff bonus, which doesn't apply to Havenstein, but does apply to the other players. So, based on this, Havenstein gets 1 local endorsement role because he meets the eligibility for that, right? However, when we scroll down, now also too, this shows the compensation amount and the term of the deal, what it'll be, and all of this will be in the random. All this is configured into the random generator, so you'll see that when we get there. But just to call it out, the compensation range for a local endorsement deal is between $50,000 to $150,000 annually. The term will be tied to the team contract. So, and all that would be random, but it's a thing where, let's say Havenstein, for instance, let's say he has 3 years left on his deal. The max that he can sign for an endorsement deal, local endorsement deal, then would be 3 years. You get it? And then if his team contract ends after 2, the endorsement deal ends after 2, even though it was 3. That's how this is set up. That's how you should read this. Also, too, FYI, I put all this that you see on the screen here related to the endorsement rules. Check out the pinned comment. I'm gonna pin this into the comment section so you can read through it in the comments as well. All right, and ask questions if you have any. This is for regional endorsement deals. We don't have any eligibility for that for any of the players. National deal, same deal, but there's a little wrinkle in this. There's a part that applies to rookie, but it'll be rookies drafted in the first round, so we don't have any of those. All right. Remember how when we do the roll to find out which player which player we sign, there's a number for popularity rating. I record all that, and this is where it comes into play. So check this out. Popularity metric and popularity boost. So popularity metric, every player is assigned a fixed popularity rating from 1 to 0 when they sign with the agency, with 20 being the most popular. This metric influences endorsement eligibility, bonus rolls, and potential roll losses. All right, and it's bonus eligibility rolls. Oh well, whatever. Anyway, popularity boost threshold. So boost level. Players with the popularity metric of 15 or higher gain a popularity boost. Local endorsements. For each start beyond 8 games, they receive an additional local endorsement roll. So if this were to apply to Larry Havenstein, if his popularity level was 15 or higher, for instance, he led the team for the centers, his position, in downs played, meaning he was the starter for his position group, right? But he only played in 14 games, right? So that means that's only 6 games above 8. That means if he qualified for this bonus, he would get 6 additional rolls because he had 6 games that he was a starter above 8. That's how we would calculate that, right? But it doesn't apply to him, and I'll tell you why. Because there's also, and then there's, a boost here for the regional and the national levels, but I won't get into that because it doesn't apply to any players we have now. But you can read it on the screen as well as in the comment section if you're interested. This applies though. So it says roll loss threshold. Players with a popularity metric below 5 lose 1 local threshold roll and 1 regional endorsement roll to low popularity as potential endorsement interest is limited. All right, so hold on, I'm about to pause the screen real quick and throw up my client list to show you something. Actually, you know what? I'll just throw up a quick screenshot of our current client list table. Okay, so here's our current client list table. You can see all of our clients, where their current teams. You can see their position, the school they went to, height, weight, age, their draft year. You can see the round they were drafted in, if they were drafted in the round, the draft pick that they were, if they were drafted in that round. And then you see here popularity rating. You also see career status, if they're active, once and when they retired. I'll show that on here. You can see the 2 new players that we just signed. They're pre-draft, they haven't been drafted yet, so their current team is none. But then you can see the current team for the other players, right? But anyhow, the main reason I brought this up is because of the popularity rating. And this goes into, again, when we do the initial roll on the player generator page, there's the popularity rating on there, which again, I record and note, and this is the reason why, right? So when you look at Havenstein here, who I kind of got highlighted on the screenshot, didn't mean to do that, but when you look at Havenstein, his popularity rating is a 4, right? So that there means that when you, let's flip back to the rules, he just lost the 1 local endorsement roll that he gained, right? So when you really break it down, he went up 1 and went down 1. So basically he lost his endorsement roll. So actually, in all actuality, Larry Havenstein does not get an endorsement roll, okay, based on the rules. The next guy we'll look at, Colin Ellis, the left tackle for the Jaguars. He was a backup, but his team made the playoffs. So when we look at the rules, it said playoff bonus. If the player's team makes the playoff, they receive a bonus local endorsement roll for each playoff game. Now that doesn't apply to just starters. That's just for anybody on the 53 man, right? If they're on the practice squad, it don't count. But if they're on the 53 man, it does. Then it says, if the player starts the playoff game, this is upgraded to regional endorsement roll. Well, Colin Ellis, his team played 2 playoff games, so he gets 2 local endorsement rolls based on this, right? But he wasn't a starter, so those roles are local roles, not regional roles. And then when we scroll down to the popularity metric, we'll see if he loses a role or if he gets a extra role, right? So players with a popularity metric of 15 gain a popularity boost. For each start beyond 8 games, they receive an additional local endorsement role. Regional endorsements. If the player makes the playoff, they receive an extra regional role for each playoff game started. Since he didn't start, he does not get an extra role. And then national endorsements, this doesn't apply to him. So based on this, he can't receive any additional roles, right? But he can lose a local role if his popularity is below 5. So let's flip back to our client list. We're looking at Colin Ellis, the left tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. His popularity is 16, right? So we already said he can't earn anything extra because he gets his roles based on his team making the playoffs, not because he was a starter. So he doesn't get any additional roles even though he's over 15 metric, right? But he doesn't lose any roles either. So unlike Havenstein, who lost his because from being a starter, this dude right here, he gets to keep both of his local roles. All right, so just keep that in mind. After all this, after we are tabulating this and I'm going over the rules, I'm gonna flip over to the for the first time, I'm gonna flip over to the endorsement generator and we'll roll through for those, right? But I'm just walking you all through how we calculate who gets the roles, who's eligible, and then who gets the roles and how many. So we just to recap so far, we looked at Larry Havenstein and determined although he was eligible for a role, he lost his role because of his popularity rating. Then the next guy we just looked at was Colin Ellis. He gets 2 roles because his team played 2 playoff games. And he doesn't lose any of those, but he doesn't gain anything extra either, right? So far, that's where we are. Now, the last guy we're going to look at is Cody Bishop. He played in 4 playoff games. He was not a starter, right? So this is the rule that applies to him. If the player makes the playoffs, they receive bonus local endorsement roles for each playoff game. He had 4. We scroll down here to see popularity boost. He got the boost from just being in the playoff game. So just like Ellis, he doesn't get an extra boost. He doesn't get an extra role. There's no boost for him, right? Regardless of what his metric is. Only thing that can apply to him is he can lose one of these 4 roles if his popularity metric is below 5. His popularity rating is 15. So again, he doesn't get an extra boost, but he also doesn't lose anything. So he'll get 4 local endorsement roles based on his team playing 4 playoff games and him being on the 53-man roster for those 4 games. All right. So the recap: Havenstein gets 0, Ellis gets 2, and our man Cody Bishop gets 4, the rookie. All right. So we're gonna flip over to the endorsement generator and go through those 6 roles for those 2 players. All right, y'all. So here we are on the endorsement generator tab of the model that we have built. Let me just show you a few things around here. This is actually from here to here. This is actually a list lookup. So remember, we have local level deals, regional level deals, national level deals, and this is the compensation range, the high and the low. Well, not high and low, actually this is backwards, but basically just think of this instead of high and low, since that's backwards, just think of this as the floor and the ceiling for each deal. So the floor for local deal is 50,000, the ceiling is 150, regional 250 to $1 million. This is per year comp, and then national is 1.25 to 10. General terms are 2 to 4, but then remember, local and regional deals are tied to the player team contracts. All right. I have over here, this is always the year, and it's always going to be linked to the year that we're working on. And then I have a drop down list. This is just pulling from over here, and with the high and low, or again, think floor and ceiling because it's sort of backwards. But so we have local, which is for 50,000 to 150. Then I have regional, which is for 250 to 1,000,000. And then I have national, which is 1.25 to 10 million. All right. But for these roles that we're doing, we got 6 roles to do right now for 2 players. They're all going to be local roles. All right. Another thing I want to point out here on the endorsement. So what it's going to spit out is the deal type, the deal term. But again, with these being local, I mean, we'll still look at deal term, but it's just, it'll be capped at whatever the team contract is, and it'll also expire when the team contract expires. So if the player has a local deal for 2 years and he gets cut from his team after the first year, he loses the endorsement deal as well. You get it? Deal offer, yes or no, that's just going to determine whether or not he gets the deal, because it's not an automatic thing. There's a roll component, right? We roll in the dice just like we do when we determine if we sign a new player. Compensation per year, that's going to be the range between whatever it is. So local deals, again, are going to be between this range, regional deals, that range, national deals, that range. So depending on, we already know, right? Depending on the size of the deal, that'll determine that. And then exclusivity. If a player has an I didn't mention this in the rule set because that's only eligibility rules, but here's a wrinkle that I worked into this. Exclusive. So a player can have exclusivity. It pertains to deal type, all right? Not the size of the deal. So if you get, let's say if a deal type is like for a shoe deal, now you won't necessarily get a local shoe deal, but let's just say for instance you do. Or not shoe deal, that's a bad example, because shoe deals, I even have this generated where shoe deals are only at the national level. But let's say you get something like a restaurant deal at the local level and they make it exclusive, and then later you qualify for a national level deal and you get one that's a restaurant, but you're already in an exclusive deal at the lower level, you can't get the national deal. You get it? So there's kind of like a tweak in it involved where if it's exclusive, you can only have that type of deal. It pertains to deal type. You can only have that type of deal while you're in it. And actually, just thought of something that I almost forgot. So I put a note here to remind myself and to inform you all that if a deal is exclusive, I worked into the formulas to increase whatever salary it comes up with, whatever compensation it comes up with, that there will be a 15% increase to the comp if the deal is exclusive, right? So just know that. So if they land on an exclusive deal, there is a chance that it could end up with compensation higher than the ceiling range, and that's because there's a 15% increase, all right? So I just wanted to note that before we hop into it. Again, we got 2 players with 6 roles. We're gonna hop into the first. Is Colin Ellis. Let's see what it do, y'all. Colin Ellis with his first 2 roles, endorsement roles, and these are the first endorsement roles of the series. Let's see how it goes. Fingers crossed. We want to get some yeses. Here's the first one for Colin Ellis. Womp womp. He ends up with a no. It was with an insurance agency. Would have been a local insurance agency. It would have been for 130 grand. It was not exclusive. Unfortunately, he did not get the deal. All right, here's number 2 for Colin Ellis. Fingers crossed. Let's go. Boom, baby. What up? So Colin Ellis lands a deal with a home improvement service provider. It's a 2-year deal. It's worth $129,950 per year. It is exclusive, so there's a 15% increase on that deal. It's already locked in to it. Yeah, y'all. So Colin Ellis gets the first endorsement deal, and again, it's at $129,950. You can kind of see right here too. This is where it landed. It landed on 113. But being that it's exclusive, he gets a 15% increase, and that bumps it up to $129,950, basically $130,000. So that's the one deal that Colin Ellis gets on the side, and that'll be it for him, y'all. On to the next. So the next guy we got is Cody Bishop, the tight end who played for the Chiefs. He gets 4 local roles because his team played in 4 playoff games, and he was a backup on the 53-man roster. So let's do it. Let's get his 4 roles in. Here's role number 1. Boom. So it's a no for him. He loses out on a local gym/fitness center deal. Probably was a compensation thing. They just couldn't agree to the terms. It was an exclusive deal. It would have only came to $86,075 for non-exclusive, but it ends up being a no. So on to the next for Cody Bishop. Boom. Oh, a big one. He got a real estate agent who gives him a deal. So this is deal number 1 for Cody Bishop. It's real estate agency. Hold on, I'm gonna pause real quick and note the info I need, and I'll come back and speak to it. All right, boom. So that's Cody Bishop on his second role, on his second out of 4 roles. He ends up signing a deal with a real estate agent for 2 years, $148,000 per year, and it's not exclusive, so he can sign with another real estate agent if he so pleases. All right, so on to the next. Let's see. He got 2 more roles. Let's see what it do. Here's the third. Boom. So he almost got a deal with a law firm. It would have been exclusive at 140, but it came out to a no. So he missed on that one. It's all good, y'all. We can't win them all. He gets one more swing at the bat to get a local endorsement deal based on the 4 playoff games he played with the Chiefs. Boom. Okay, so he does sign a deal. He ends up signing a deal with a local fitness center, and this one is non-exclusive. It's for 2 years, $76,000 per year, but it's non-exclusive. So those are his 2 deals. And yeah, that'll do it. I'm gonna go in the background, tally everything up. I'll flip back, and I think we're at the point where we can get into the results of the agency, because we are just now after we do the endorsement bit. That's basically the end of the season. I'll wrap everything up, crunch the numbers, and we'll come back and look at how we did financially. All right, back in a second. We are back, and it is now time to review the financial results. All right, so we just wrapped the 2026 year. We got 2024 and 2025 here as well, so you can see the year-over-year comparison. For this year, we earned a total of $298,000. That is an increase from last year, where we had 204, and 2 years before that, where we only made 52,000. The breakdown of the 298, 134,000 came from commissions from team contracts, versus last year where we only had 117,000 from team contracts. This is the first year in the agency's 3-year existence that we have earned commission from endorsement revenue. So we earned just under $42,000 in endorsement commissions. We've seen an increase in our social media consulting and advisory fees up to $52,500. And really the way the model is built, this is just a function of the number of players we have signed times a rate. Same with the next line item, which is event management fees. So these are our ancillary revenue streams, right, to make up the 4 revenue streams of the agency. So in total, again, we made $298,000. The cost of sales, so for draft prep costs, that was $37,500. Again, these are costs that we spent the year prior, but then they get held in the balance sheet and then expensed in the following year. So $37,500. Client retention costs were $21,000, and then legal and contract fees are $14,000. Total cost of sales $72,500, just under $73,000. So we were able to bring it down some, and that's primarily due to draft costs. So the total gross profit for the year, $225,000 in gross profit, right? So yeah, that was our gross profit, the 225, just under 226. Our operating costs, salaries and wages. So Kevin Oleman is still the only employee we have on our list. He's even only paying himself a fraction of his total salary. The first year he paid himself $30,000, last year $40,000, this year $50,000. The taxes and all that kind of good stuff on that was $16,000, just over 16. For marketing, we spent $45,000, just under 46, so we reduced from what we spent. So each year marketing has been going down. We might have to increase that a little bit, but that's all a function of the roll of the dice when we generate our players. Then insurance was $2,900. This is a fraction of revenue. Office rent and utilities, we still are only renting the rework because we still don't really have an employee force other than our contractors, and they all work remote. So Kevin Oleman just goes into that office to do work from time to time or to have client meetings. Then we have events and travel costs. That's gone up to $44,000, more than double the previous year cost, which was more than double the year before that. A function of this is just flying around to the client games and trying to sign new clients and things like that. So that's going to increase year over year as expected. Then we have this endorsement procurement cost. Thinking if I should make that a cost of sales, but for now I'll leave it here as a operating cost. So now that we have endorsement contracts, we now have this cost here of $4,000. It was $4,000. We have training development costs. Those have been flat, and then technology costs pretty flat. And then consultants, we raised every year. We pay our consultants just a tad bit more. Depreciation, that's a non-cash expense. And then miscellaneous expenses, that's just a function that we built into the model. So total operating costs were $214,000, just under $215,000. And this year we made a profit of $11,362, which means we have to pay taxes, income tax, but our income tax fee was greatly reduced because we have net operating losses that get applied to that we have working in our schedule. So total net income after tax was $10,892, which will get added to our retained earnings. Coming into this year, our retained earnings were negative $182. So you add the 10, now our retained earnings are negative 171. We're trying to get this to a positive. Here's our balance sheet for 2026. You can see our cash has gone up a bit. We now have a cash balance of 298,000. Our AR has gone up a tad bit as well. Our AR is at 20,000. Capitalized draft costs dropped again. Again, though, this is just a function of when we roll for new players. We've been signing UDFAs and we haven't signed any highly projected players. That's what's going to drive that cost up. Our net property, plant, and equipment, which is really just Kevin Oleman's computer. All right, so that's our assets, and then on our liabilities, we just have some AP, account payable, and accrued expenses. So about $9,000 in AP. We don't have any long-term debt. This is our stockholder equity, the 500,000 we started with plus the retained earnings. So the total for that is 337. So yeah, that's our balance sheet. And then our cash flow, statement of cash flow. We'll just look at the totals. Net from operating, we had positive cash flow from operating activity, 27,000. In the year prior it was negative 40. Year before that negative 185. So the agency is growing little by little, moving in the right direction. We didn't have any investment activities and we didn't have any financing activities. And so the total for the year, our cash balance, we ended at $298,000. All right. So yeah, so that's our financial results there, and that was a quick overview. Now we'll turn here to our dashboard so we could see a visual of everything we just saw essentially. So this is the 2026 dashboard. You can see the revenue we had, $298,000. 45% of this came from contract commission. That's the contract commission percentage. So this lets you know how healthy this revenue is, meaning like, you know, the lower this number is, the better, basically, because that means we're driving revenue from other sources, as you can see, which is these three other sources here, because this is just a visual of what's going on here from the last 3 years. So this is 2026. This blue block right here represents contract commissions. So that's the 45% of the total. Yep, commission rev, contracts, team contracts. Then we have commission rev from endorsements right here. Then we have consulting and advisory fees here. And then we have event management fees here. So yeah, that's our revenue makeup. Profit percentage this year has gone back up to 76%. First year it was at 70%, 76%. Last year it dropped down to 54%. Now we're back up to 76%. This here is showing team contract and endorsement commission by position. So left tackle, we only have one left tackle, but he's made 103,000, and this is lifetime, by the way. Not how much he's made, but how much we've made off of him. In other words, that's how much we've made in team contract and endorsement commissions. All right, it's by percentage. These are our actively signed players by year. So 24, we had 3. 25 last season, we had 5. 26 this season that we're closing, we had 7. This is another view of it up here. Actively signed players 7. This plus 2 are the 2 new. That just means in the previous year we had 5. So these are the 2 new, and that also represents the difference between this 5 and the 7. And this 50% percentage one, that's for the 2. That was the 4 rows we did. We won 2 of them, so that's a 50% win rate. That's what that number there represents. Oh, and then if I didn't mention it here, this is our profit. $225,000 in gross profit, 76% profit rate. That's that 76% right there, same 76. Then this little chart here just goes over our the top part shows our average revenue per client. This past year it was at $43,000. This is what you see here. Last year was $41,000. Year before that, in the first year, it was 18. Then this is LTV to PAC. That's lifetime value to player acquisition costs. It's 9.3 times. So meaning the money that we spend to acquire a player, we make 9.3 times that over his career. Last year, the rate was at 8.5. So we're squeezing out a little bit more. This year is at 9.3. So yeah, man, overall, the agency is looking really, really healthy. I mean, you know, the numbers are still small. We're still building. This is only year 3. 2026 is only year 3, y'all. Or technically year 4, because the first year don't count, which was 23, which is when he raised the money, the 500,000. All right. This is just a view here of our cash. So we started the year with a cash balance of 270,000. This shows the operating activities, how our cash went up by 27,000 in operating activities. Then investing and financing, 0s, 2 zeros, but this plus this, our new balance is now 298,000. That's how you read this waterfall chart. And then this last little box here, this just shows our 2026 company valuation. 4 times our EBITDA is $47,000. But I mean, if we were raising money right now, I would value it different. But as we continue to grow, this number will as well. And this will represent how much we can sell the company for. All right, which we're not nowhere near trying to sell the company just yet. Still trying to build this thing up. And yes, our model, our dashboard here is 100%, what's the word I'm looking for? It's 100% dynamic. Remember, we have 2 levers. We have this one right here, which controls, for the most part, I'm gonna say this in here plus this. So these 3 plus this is controlled by this. And then our model, our Excel model, controls the title dash, the top three dash, and I want to say these 2 dashes. The dash for the cash balance and the dash for company valuation. So for instance, we're on 2026. If I flip back to 2025, you can see these were our totals here, right? And I can take 20, how many 2020s? Like 2020. I could take 2026 off. I can remove it if it cooperates. Right, and so now these other will just show 24 and 25. This shows the total for 25 here. This is where our cash was to 2025, which was last year. So you can see we started at 311,000. Operating activities took 40,000 of it, and we ended at 270. And then we can go back again. If I flip back on the Excel, back to 2004. This is the beginning. So I could take 2025 off of here. And just show 2024. See, boom. It's completely dynamic, y'all. So this is the starting point, the negative 475. Then we'll go backwards the other way. Last year, we jumped up. We went to negative 253. Had our revenue of 204, gross profit 109, up to 5 clients. Add that back. All right, this is our 225. And then coming back to 2026, I'm just going back and forth both ways, just showing you how the dashboard is dynamic, baby. Yeah. So as we go through, we can analyze our performance over time and see where we are, see where we're going, all that kind of good stuff. I might even make another supplemental dashboard. I'm thinking over time to show like actual individual players, to show who has earned the most money over their career, but that'll be like after year 10 or something like this. I don't know, but for now this is just a dashboard of the overall agency though, right? So yeah, y'all, this is where we are. This is it right here. So yeah, I think now is probably a real good time to go ahead and close things out. You can see where the agency stands in year 3, which is the 2026 season. We got our 7 actively signed players, 2 of which are not yet on the team. They haven't been drafted. We just signed them straight out of college. So we're about to find out on this next season where they go, which will be the 2027 season. We're looking forward to it. We accomplished in this 2026 season. We signed our first endorsement revenue. So, hey man, it's looking good. Everything is looking on the up and up. We're gonna continue to build this thing one step at a time, 1 year at a time, 1 player at a time. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So until the next time, you know who it is.
For the old man.
Yeah, that's right. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment down below. Let a brother know, you know what I'm saying? Hey yo, let me know. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for rocking with me all the way through this point. But yeah, for sure, definitely drop a comment down below. Give me some feedback. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's anything specific to the agency you would like to see as we go through and show the growth of everything. And yeah, we'll get into it. So until the next time, y'all, peace.